And this is the video.
Yes.
Videos.
Yes. Okay.
Okay.
So now we are, let's see, did you get a chance to view some or most of the two
Yeah,
videos?
both of them. Yep, yep. Yeah, I was able to review both of the videos. Yes, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Some things how I'm thinking about this is I'll like
Okay.
preface our discussion with rate away some things that I'd like to do differently next time. Um,
Okay.
if it
Okay.
so happens that those line up in any way with the feedback that you are already thinking, then just drop in there
Okay.
and we can have a small
Sure.
exchange of ideas on those topics. And then afterwards, I'll
Okay.
talk a little bit about, and then we can openly discuss what you liked and what I liked about the lesson and kind of go from
Okay.
there.
All right. Sounds good.
So the first thing, I think we've already touched upon this a little bit. My energy, just my overall energy in the class was lower than what my students and myself are used to due to that
Okay.
family visit. I think I was a little more tired.
Mm-hmm, hmm.
Um,
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely.
and that class usually benefit because of their age, I think usually benefits a lot from a very high energy, high interaction, almost faster paced.
I guess maybe you know yourself better because I had the total opposite. I thought the relationship and the engagement was great. Yeah, I mean, this is my first time seeing you, so I don't, if you're higher than that, then great. But no, I really thought that you engaged very well with the kids. Yeah, so anyway, go ahead. Yeah, I didn't see that, but you can gauge yourself better than I can because this is my first time seeing you. So.
Well, that's a relief to hear. That is a relief. Um,
Hmm.
I think we touched upon this earlier when we were discussing
Okay.
my lesson plan. I would like to
Hmm.
have more secondary resources. There were just times
Yeah.
in the
Yeah.
lesson where I felt like, okay, I could take the few minutes to write up some discussion questions on the board or make some connections that I thought of previously. And I usually do
Hmm.
do that, but it's just overall would have
Okay.
come across as more organized and time
Understand.
efficient if it was just done ahead of
Hmm.
time.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Understand.
I certainly would like to think about ways I can get more tech into the classroom. Maybe over the next couple weeks, uh, we could think of suggestions for a classroom with no Wi-Fi and a limited cell phone plan, strategies to get tech in there regardless. One thing that's already occurred to me, and it
Uh-huh.
would realistically, it would require pretty minimum uh, preparation, is I
Hmm.
just download YouTube videos like the
Hmm.
day before onto my laptop and then just bring the whole thing in
Yep.
there. Um,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
downside's my laptop's like 10 pounds, but it's okay.
Now, why the lack of technology there? Is it because of where you're at? It's just the school, or
um,
what's the reason for that?
from what I've gathered, other teachers will use their cell phones in class, and either they're
Okay.
on the first floor. There's only one classroom on the first floor. The rest are on the second and third. The first floor does
Okay.
have Wi-Fi, so some teachers will
Oh,
just connect to the Wi-Fi, show some videos on that small screen. It obviously
okay.
depends on how large their class is, and then other
Understand.
teachers they just really they don't have tech.
Hmm.
I think
Hmm.
one
Yeah.
overarching uh, value, I guess, of the school
Hmm.
is a very major emphasis on just open conversation and open discussion in classrooms as
Understand
being
that.
like
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
major teaching strategy. So they might
Hmm.
actually want to shy away from tech interaction.
Right.
I'm not really
Yeah.
sure,
Yeah.
but for the purposes of Teach Now, I would like to
Yeah.
experiment with
Yeah.
it anyway.
Well, I had the same when I started with Teach Now. I was teaching here, but we didn't have Wi-Fi either. We had our one landline, and so what I would do, and I think it would be easier for you because you have a smaller class. when you're talking about the forest, shoot it up on YouTube, have them stand around. This is what I literally did, because I have a lot of ESL students too from our outer islands. They, hey, Thanksgiving's coming up, or this is coming up. What's that, Mrs. Burke? They would literally, I'd have to call them in teams. They would come and stand behind me. It would come up on YouTube. And it was just, and so that's why I was saying, you just kind of do what you have to do. Because, now we have the Wi-Fi, it's great. But for my first 5 years, I was kind of in a similar situation, and I'm taking this 21st century skills class and putting all these things together, and I wasn't able to really, my children weren't able to benefit or enjoy it. So yeah, you could easily do that. Just shoot it up on your laptop, have the little kiddos standing around you, and
I like
and
the
that
come up
helps
in
too with
teams
the
part.
yeah.
Because it would be crazy to have on the small cell phone screen. So I like the come up in teams suggestion. I think that can help me.
Yeah,
okay, thank you.
Yeah.
I wanted to make a note about the rapport I have with one particular student, Andrew. He seems, when I prompt for interaction with him or just have a question or would like a response from him, he seems very nervous. He kind of clams up almost. Granted, he is nervous with just about every adult in that school. He seems more comfortable with his peers, which is a good thing. But he can really be participating just fine until I interact with him, one-on-one, and then he starts to get really nervous. So that did happen a couple times in the course of the video. And it's a teaching opportunity that I'd still like to get from that, about how to deal with him. And then I think we briefly touched upon this in the first video. Student Jeremy has a tough time staying seated. Student with ADHD, and I would like to figure out a protocol that allows him some movement without distracting other students, and also where the other students know that just because he's moving or standing, that doesn't mean that it's appropriate for all students to do the same.
Right.
And I think you did have a suggestion on that one.
Yeah. With Devin, what I do, and there's something about when they get to make the choice. So if I'm like, okay, Devin, we're getting ready to do this, and it's going to be maybe a little longer assignment. You can sit wherever you want. I don't care where you sit, but you cannot touch anybody. You cannot talk to anybody. You're going to be in your own Devin world. Where do you want to be? And he normally chooses to stay by his desk, and he is fine. Now, if I say, Devin, you're going to sit there and and kind of the old school teachers, kids listen, and it doesn't work for our kids that are ADHD. It just doesn't. And I don't want that struggle. I have other things I need to do. I just want Devin to do his work, and I want him to do it well. So giving maybe your student the choice. But I really liked what you did, Rob. You were very, very quick and consistent with the redirection. I loved, he got out, you were trying to get stuff together, and the little guy got out and did something. You said, okay, 3 coins. And you were just, you didn't raise your voice. You're very calm. And I thought that was outstanding. And, you saw, but they went and they got those 3 coins, and you're like, okay, no, I said 3 coins. And so, one thing that I thought was really, really good was you were consistent. You were firm, even with the game. Some teachers, you don't get out. You get to keep playing, even if you didn't do what teacher says. And so I really think that that's one of your strengths. What I saw in the videos is you're consistent. And I'm assuming these are third graders, second, third graders?
A little younger than that, yeah, 7 and 8 year old.
Oh, okay. But they need that consistency. And what I liked is, it's like they know what to expect with you.
Hmm.
And so I think that that's going to be one of your pluses with your ADHD kid is they need that consistency, they need that firmness, but maybe what you could also do is give him some choices with your boundaries, and I think you'll be fine because you handled it very well. I was very impressed with that. He didn't keep bouncing around. He got down on the floor, got up, and went and got his 3 coins. And I thought that was really good. So, yeah.
Yeah, the routine part is really important to me. It seems to benefit all
Yeah,
the students in the class, including the ADHD
absolutely.
students. Um, that
Yeah.
said, that reminds me, I would also like to. Uh, there's always that student choice element, and I think that could help.
Hmm.
Like you said, I think that could help the ADHD
Hmm.
students as well a lot. And
Yeah, it really does. Yeah, for
there might be
me.
times in class where just because how the rules are framed or who told
Hmm.
him the rules the first time, he feels
Hmm.
uh, limited by them rather than him feeling like
Hmm.
those rules are also part of his own creation.
Hmm.
So that's a
Right.
really good
Yeah.
angle to take.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I think that was all of the. I'm sure there's more, but as far at least the ones that we're talking about today, that's what I would like to do
Right. Right.
differently.
Hmm. Yeah, it's just watching. I'm kind of trying here, looking over my notes. You did really well with the transition. You went into what I have or don't have. You were changing up. I thought that was a really smooth transition. You modeled well, um, and I do think having the extra resources, because I understand where you're working, it's conversation, wanting them to really understand and conversate and pronounce. I think the extra resources would be more engaging and maybe even help in more of the conversation. But yeah, I thought it was really I thought it was good. You had the rules prior to raising the hand. You raising your hand. The kids, they're kids, so they were getting a little antsy, and then you were just able to. I think your management as well, and I know that was something you had said when we first met, just kind of wanting to know how to manage. I think you do it well. I think maybe with your ADHD, definitely give him some choices. But what's a plus with you is you're consistent. You're very consistent, and that is going to take you uh, a long way, especially when it comes to behavior management, because kids know when they know who's consistent and who's not. So that's definitely a strength that I think you have, Rob.
Great, thank you for that. Um, the additional resources part. So
Mm-hmm. Okay.
with the workbook that they already have and the grammar book that they
Mm-hmm.
already have, with both of those
Okay.
basically look like a worksheet inside. What they're doing is a kind of
Okay.
worksheet. Um,
Mm-hmm.
in your class, with additional resources, does the
Mm-hmm.
material tend to look like a worksheet, or is it like a more creative activity, just for a standard, you know, English vocab lesson or English grammar lesson?
I can really, I don't even, I think the stuff is behind me. One of the things like this week's skills are place value, expanded form, word form, uh, standard, and then we're doing proper, or I'm sorry, nouns. And so they're going to do their textbook, kind of boring, but they need to know it. It's a skill they need to know. And then after that, they had a worksheet where kids love to cut and color. So it's a list. You have persons, place, things, idea. They get to color, the place a different color, the person a different color. They're going to cut and they're going to glue. So it's the same thing, same skill, just a different activity, more engaging. So once you kind of do the boring stuff, show me, identify the two nouns, what are they? They're going to do that for a little while. We're going to look it over. We're going to discuss. I have what's called mistake time, and they love it because I have kids in my class. The parents want to know what rank are they, and I'm like, well, they're third grade, but they want to know their ranking because at the end of the year we have principal's award. So anyway, So yeah, so they're doing their skill, they're doing their nouns, they're doing their workbook, and then we're done with that. Oh, and then like I said, mistake time. They love it because they're not afraid. I'm like, okay, guys, what time is it? Mistake time, and we talk about their mistakes. Okay, wow, why? So why did you think that a waitress was a place instead of a person? Oh, because I was thinking of restaurant, Mrs. Burke. That's a place. So it just kind of gives them the freedom to make a mistake. So then that's done, and then we transition to just kind of the fun activity, and that's what it would look like in my room. We start with kind of, I don't want to say boring, but kind of just the stuff that we have to do, and then I use Super Teacher. It's a website. It's free, or you pay the $20 a year, and you have unlimited access. And so let's say you're doing, I don't know that you do math with your students, but we're getting ready to do subtraction with regrouping, which is a struggle for a lot of my kids. So we're going to kind of just do the mechanics of the subtraction, of the regrouping, and then they're going to get to do a color by number. So I always try to incorporate something that I know third graders love to do, and that's color and cut and sit and chat, and we have the music going. So that's what I would do.
Excellent. I like those suggestions. Is Super Teacher a website? Superteacher.com?
Yeah, just okay. Superteacher.com. Yeah. And it's great, Rob, because your focus is reading. It's leveled, so if your kids are at a first grade reading level, you go to first grade. And so they have fun stories like The Creature in the Closet, or they just have fun little stories that you could even just, if you're going to do a read aloud, so those are definitely resources you can look into.
Great. All right. Thank you for that.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. I think that I'll quickly touch on a couple things I did think went well in the lesson.
Okay.
I've been doing this for a couple months now. I use a name slip in a box, and I call their name from that. Okay. So it's completely randomized participation, and that actually, even for the ADHD student, that works really well to try to keep him on task, because he knows he can be called on abruptly.
I like that.
So that seems to work really well with them. I do feel like I have a good rapport with the students that make them feel comfortable. I guess comfortable enough to the point where they can chance an answer to difficult questions, things they might not be certain that they know, but they'll take a stab at it. And every response is a learning opportunity if it's not right. And since starting teaching there, I've tried to put in differentiation strategies. Basically, whenever I learn them, whenever one comes across that a teacher might suggest it. And those, I don't have all of them. I don't nearly have perfect differentiation strategies, but the ones that have been implemented thus far have measurably benefited students that were struggling based off test scores. So the test that we took that day, my class did well in it.
Okay, that's great. Yeah, you definitely, the report, there was one, I don't know which little girl it was, but she had gotten something wrong, or the sentence, or I don't know what it was, but you did such a great job. You said, okay, does such and such want to help her out? And then you kept giving her chances, and that just, if a child is comfortable with you, and I see that your kids are very comfortable with you. So that was, I like the way that you corrected well. You corrected very well. Yeah.
Great. Okay, well, I think that's about it, Buffy. So thanks again for meeting.
That was perfect. Awesome. Yeah, perfect timing. Okay, so I will. All right. So, and then just to make sure, I'm kind of literal. So this is kind of how we're going to do every week.
Yeah, I think so.
For the most part.
Yeah.
Okay.
Pretty much. We don't have to. There's only 4 videos, so I just
Oh,
got
oh,
one done.
oh,
Yeah, yeah,
okay.
yeah. So it won't
Oh,
be a
so
big
just three more to go.
discussion. Yeah, it won't be a big
Okay.
discussion about these
Mhm.
videos. Like that would I know for you as well that would be a big time commitment watching those videos. Just so I think it will be a little more focused next time. It'll
Okay.
be some
Okay.
criteria that I'll send you ahead of time and that we might break down a little bit
Okay.
prior. And then in the video, we'll
Okay.
kind of get into the meat of some things. But yeah, this one was I
Okay.
think this one was the longest one. It would be.
Oh, wow. Okay. And I didn't, excuse me. Yeah, I mean, because your videos were only like 7 minutes long. So
Hmm.
that wasn't bad. Not bad at all. So, all right. Well, it was great. I enjoyed watching them. Your class is adorable. And so I will just take my cues